Good morning, ladies. Welcome to our Monday Money Mindset session. Today we're going to be going over something really fun. I believe this may be something you have never even thought of in your life, and I'm going to introduce a new tool that you can use every single day to, when you start recognizing that you are in a funk, like your mindset is not where you need to be. This can not only, be around money, but in so many other areas of your life that you can start using this as a tool. So I'm going to explain that a little bit later. But here is the exercise that I'm going to walk you through that's going to help you understand what's going on in the connection with your mind, your body, and your money. So if you have your journal or a piece of paper, I want you to grab that now, get something to write with. We're going to be going through something experiential so you can fully experience it yourself. Okay, so we're going to be doing the first two parts of what I call the money map. And there's 5 different kinds of money. And we really are carrying different hidden programming in our body when it comes to our income, our savings, our debt, looking at goals that we have set within our business. And I really want to have you understand that there is a mind-body connection here that is involved with our money. So what I want you to do is we're going to look at this map and we're going to plot out how money is specifically and literally in your nervous system. So this may again be something you have never heard of, and how the different kinds of money have different aspects of what is going on in your body and what your subconscious is doing to self-sabotage. So each different kind of money has its own program belief, or that kind of habitual self-talk that we just hear in our heads. We might not question it at this point. We're just like, yep, that's true. But the emotion that is connected to that is always going to be wired to the fight or flight response that our body feels. So we're going to start with the type of money that's called our savings account. So I want you to write down on a piece of paper in front of you how much, the amount that is in your savings. Just take your best guess. If you are not sure, no worries. Just write down again that number. And now I want you to look at that number and just sit with it for a second. I would invite you to close your eyes. You have that number, maybe see it in your bank account. Take some deep breaths and then just ask yourself, what is the feeling in your body right now? What are the feelings and what are the thoughts that are running through your head? Now, I've done this with so many people, and the most common emotion that comes up when people think about their savings account is a feeling of sadness or loss, maybe disappointment. And of course, there's worry and fear. That can happen, but the most common thought is, I never feel safe. And I never feel taken care of. And so this is the money map that's coming up for you around your savings. So again, just looking for that emotion. Can be embarrassment, maybe some have shame. And again, these connections are all wired to that fight or flight response in our body. So, some of us have traumas also around our money. For some people, when they look at their savings account, it reminds them of a past event that was full of a lot of loss or sadness or disappointment that may still even feel unresolved. So, if you maybe had a parent who had debt as a child, and when you were little, you've never felt safe around your parents having a great job. You were always worried if one got sick, or would they maybe get fired. Maybe they experienced a business betrayal or something happened. And since that day, you've never really felt safe. And, this just doesn't get taken care of. Not many people know about this. And so we really need to start looking at what's that emotion connected to your savings account. And I just want you guys to be aware that, do you see how any time that you think about or look at your savings account or the lack of savings in there, and your nervous system is just running with these stress responses of feeling shame and anger and loss and sadness, you're saying, gosh, I just feel like a loser. What is going to happen? How am I ever going to get this to where I want to be? All these feelings of despair. Can you see how you have actually avoided bringing up that? Avoided actively working towards putting more money in there. And this is what I want you to understand. This is so many of us. So there is no shame in here. We just need to understand this information because we're never going to shift out of it otherwise. So, do you see how anytime you've tried to put the focus, attention on your savings, that it can bring you into that stress response? And I want to give you just encouragement to have compassion for yourself and understanding now that you see how all this stuff is in your nervous system and it's mapped and connected to your savings account. Like there's a stone wall up. Your nervous system is actually trying to keep you safe. And if it knows that you are going down the road of, oh my gosh, I'm going to look in my savings account, then I'm going to be disappointed and in despair and feel sad, it's going to keep you from doing that, right? So God wired our systems to keep us safe and protect us. Okay, so now we know that there is this mind-body connection. We can't deny that there's something that we're feeling. And so I just want to make sure that you are more aware of your feelings. So again, this is what you should have. 2 main feelings that you are coming up with when you're looking at that number in your bank account. And then the main things that you're saying in your head when you're looking at that number. And then I also want you to be aware and just ask yourself, does thinking about the amount in your savings account remind you of something that happened in the past that involved great loss or disappointment or that feeling of losing safety and security? And now, one last question before we move on to the next one. When you're looking at the savings, just finish this sentence with all that you have written down, with all of the feelings that you're experiencing. This means that I am, and then fill in the blank. Okay, take a deep breath. We are moving on to the second part of the money map. And this one sometimes gets a little bit more intense because it's thinking about debt. So it's really important to see. I want you to, again, just think in your mind, get a general idea, doesn't need to be down to the penny, of how much debt you have. And people try to get real technical here. Should I include my mortgage? Should I include my car? Student loans? Just whatever it is for you that feels heavy. If that is your mortgage, yes, write it down. If you're one of those people that you're like, everyone has mortgage debt, like it's not a big deal, then don't worry about it either. We want to look at how this debt and this number is connected to you, how you're dealing with it, how your nervous system is going to be wired every time you're thinking about it, okay? So this number is going to be different for everyone, and it might include something different for everyone. Okay. So the questions we're going to have here around your debt, what are the 2 main feelings that come up when you look at that number? The 2 main feelings. And what is the main thing that you say in your head when you look at that number? Some people are like, oh, could be worse. maybe it's not that bad. Or, some people just feel the weight of a crushing number under them. Like they can't breathe. They're like, how am I ever going to make this out of there? Again, it could be despair. It could be that stress response, that fight or flight, like, I don't know what to do. Just feeling of unresourcefulness. So again, what are the feelings you're experiencing when you're looking at that number of debt? And now with this one again, we're going to tie it possibly to a time when you were a child. Does thinking about the amount in your debt remind you of any situation in the past of a battle, a betrayal, or a time in your life when you never forgave yourself or someone for whatever happened? This may be something that pops into your head. Again, something, if it's within 3 seconds, I would say go with it, write that down. And then one last fill in the blank. Looking at this debt means that I am, and fill in the blank. So again, everyone's going to be feeling something different, and whatever it is, we just want to be aware so we can deal with it. So there's no use trying to be overly optimistic here. We need to understand what it is so we can get over it. Okay, so now that I have you in these states, possibly feeling sadness or disappointment, I just want you to, again, be aware that when you're dealing with your savings, with debt, like it really puts us in a state of not wanting to deal with it. And again, this is because our body just wants to keep us safe. But we are not going to stay here. We are going to be getting out of this situation. I'm only going through 2 of these types of money right now, but again, there are 5 that need to be fully explored. I do that with my clients in my one-on-one coaching. So if you need more information about that, please let me know. Okay, so I want to tell you about a tool that we can use. It's the only clinically proven tool that can turn off or deregulate that stress response in our body, the fight or flight response. And, we've felt that there's a mind-body connection, right? Like maybe when you were looking at that debt, like your throat felt really constricted, or your stomach got like you started feeling anxious and you're like, ugh, or nauseous, I don't like that feeling. And we just want to be aware of that right now, knowing that this is coming up in our body every time we're writing out a check or we're paying our bills, or it can hold us back in so many situations. So what we're talking about is our nervous system really kind of taking over, hijacking our brain, and that's okay. Like that's what it's made to do. The blood is supposed to be going to where we need to go for fight or flight. It gets into our muscles, into our legs, and helps us be in a position where we were able to run from that tiger, many years ago. Now, even money, as you're feeling, can also bring up that stress response. But I want to talk to you and just teach you today. Maybe you've heard of this. Maybe you use it. I do know of at least one person in here that uses this tool, and it's called EFT. So it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. This is not something woo-woo. This is not something out there. This is something that's proven to turn off, deregulate the amygdala, which is the part of our brain that like gets us into that, oh my gosh, that fight or flight response. And I'm going to teach you how to use this to your benefit, especially when we're dealing with money. Okay, so we're just going to disconnect that. If you're feeling the tightness in your throat, that's where I get it personally, or I feel nauseous in my stomach, we are going to stop letting our body run with those feelings, and that's tied to our subconscious and not wanting us to deal with this. Okay, so there's a lot of information about EFT. I don't want you guys to be scared of this. You can go to stress.org if you need more information. This is really a helpful tool for so many veterans, coming back from war with PTSD. You wouldn't tell that type of person, like, think happy thoughts. I mean, yes, we're going to pray for God to like turn this around and know that He can, but there's also something that we can do for ourselves in this moment so that we can breathe easier. We can bring more oxygen into our body and into our brain so we can make those rational decisions and work with God. Okay? So, I just want you guys to tap along with me. Tap along with Kari. What you do with EFT is you first address the negative emotions, whatever it is that you're feeling. Sometimes these can be things that you have felt deep inside that just need to get out. And a lot of people don't really like to acknowledge that. Yes, I am feeling shame, disappointment, sadness, whatever it is. It's not fun for any of us to be in that moment, in that situation, saying these things out loud. But we need to bring them to our surface while we're going through the tapping points. The amygdala, our brain, is going to be calming because we're sending these regulating inputs through our body to shut off that stress response. So next time when we're dealing with looking at that number with our debt, thinking about the number in our savings, we're not going to go into as much of a stress response. And we're going to bring it from here down to here. Now, sometimes this can happen in a second. We're going to bring in the Lord, ask Him to work with us on this, and just expect the best. Expect that He's with us and He wants us to feel joy and resourceful and work with Him. But if we have had these thoughts running through our brains for the last 40 years, it sometimes takes a little bit longer. So I just want you to understand and be able to experience this for yourself. So when you're looking at your savings account number, I just want you to give it a number of 1 to 10 on that scale of, I do not like how much this is. So if you're like, yes, oh my gosh, I'm in 100% agreement with this. This number needs to be way more. You're going to rate that a 10. And if you're like, this number is okay, I'm not feeling a lot of emotion coming here. Maybe it's a 2, maybe it's a 3. If you're like, yeah, it's okay, I'm working on it. And I want you to also do that for your debt. How much heat, how much emotion does your debt have behind that? If you are looking at your debt, whatever that number is, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is freaking me out. Like I can feel my throat constricting. I can feel the butterflies, the nauseous feelings in my stomach. Give it a 10. If you're looking at that number and you're like, not that bad, again, that's going to be a lower number because we want to actually see those numbers coming down. Anything above an 8 needs to be addressed today. But the goal is to get it all down to neutral. And I had to work on this for so long. You guys, with my ex-husband, I used to have the worst stress response when he would come over to pick up the kids. I would break out in hives. My face would be like as red as a beet. And I could just feel my heart absolutely pounding just by seeing him physically. I had to go through using this tool, using tapping and praying as a way to bring that stress response down. That's not good for your body. As a person that has had cancer, let me just tell you that all that trauma and all that cortisol, that emotion, that's not good for any of us. So we want to keep going through this and use this daily until we're getting our numbers down to a 3 or below, even a 0. 0 is perfect. We want us to be like, oh, there's my ex. I feel very neutral about him. Wish him the best. I will be praying for him while the kids are with him, and go in peace. Just send them off with your blessing. So again, we're talking about money, but this can be used for so many situations. Okay, so we're just going to be tapping. I usually use these 3 fingers. We're going to be tapping on acupressure points. Again, that's calm the amygdala in our brain. Nothing woo-woo. I just want to keep reinforcing this. There is nothing strange about this, okay? All right. So I just want you guys to repeat after me. script here. And again, make this as personal as you can. We really want to be hitting on the pain points that are affecting you personally. So this is more general. When I'm working with someone one-on-one, we dive deep into what their specific situation and the thoughts that are running through their heads. But this morning, we're going to keep it a little bit more general. Okay, so we're just going to be tapping. And you guys tap along with me, just repeating this, knowing that we are going to start out a little bit more negative, and then we're going to be going to the positive, okay? So your emotion might come up as you're reading through the negative, but then it'll come back down, okay? I promise. Okay, so the truth is that every time I think about money, my nervous system is wired to react with, and then you're just going to fill in the blank. And I really feel it, but I don't want to feel it because it's just uncomfortable. No wonder why I don't want to focus on my finances. Over and over, I just feel, and this is where you guys fill in the blank. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's fear, maybe it's despair. I feel it in my chest, I feel it in my throat, I feel it in my stomach. Now we're just going to go kind of along where your bra is. And all these feelings of loss and sadness, top of your head. I wonder how long I've had these feelings. And starting thinking these thoughts feel really true. Thoughts like, fill in the blank. I'm a loser. I don't know how to handle my money. I think them over and over again, like a recorder. And these thoughts always feel true, and that hurts too. And they always get to be proven as true over and over. And when I have these thoughts in my head, I feel more and more, fill in the blank. And it just feels like a vicious cycle. No wonder why I'm not spending time setting goals and managing my money. And I totally honor that my nervous system is wired to react this way. That I honor my thoughts are programmed to run this way. And it's been happening without my knowledge or choice. But I'm open to changing this. I'm open to observing and questioning this. I'm open to rewiring my nervous system for my highest good and God's glory. I'm open to rewire my thinking, my habits, for my highest good. I'm open to a whole new way of dealing with my money and wealth. I am open to having new choices about how much I can earn, create, manage, and save. Because when I shift, everything shifts. Clearing out the old that I don't want and choosing new through God's truth and empowered thinking. I am shifting into a new and empowered yes around money. I am saying yes, knowing it's safe. Yes to earning more. Yes to receiving more. Yes to money. And yes to wealth. Yes to managing and creating more. Yes to asking and receiving more. And yes to the best ideas, inspirations, strategies, and actions that God has planned for me in my highest good for His glory. Okay. Let me know what you guys thought of that. If you're just joining us now, probably go back to the beginning to fully understand what we're going through here. I'm just talking about how the mind-body money connection is wired into our nervous system, and we really need to just pull the plug on that. We want to make sure our habits, our thoughts, our subconscious is all in alignment with creating what is in our highest good, working with God, and not letting just those old loops and patterns and lies from the enemy get in our way. Okay. Now, after going through that, if you were able to do this whole experience, I want you to look at your numbers. Think about your numbers again. So going back to your savings account, look at your number, and how is the emotion? Is it the same? Is it any different? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the emotional heat? Negatively connected wise. So again, 10 being like, oh my gosh, this feels so incredibly heavy. I don't even want to deal with it. And, a 1 is more like, okay, not bad. Write down the numbers for both your savings and your debt. So we want to be seeing these numbers coming down on the scale. They should be after we have broken that disconnection in our nervous system, calming down the amygdala when you're dealing with it. If you are feeling the same, it's okay. Like sometimes we're just like, we rose that awareness and we're like, yeah, gosh, I'm still really feeling it. Sometimes it can go even higher and you've done nothing wrong. That's okay too. Just rewatch this. You can go on YouTube and find videos that are able to deal with money mindset and EFT and bringing down some of the limiting beliefs that we have. Again, look for Christian ones. There are a wide variety of things out there, of options, but would really encourage you to just be careful and mindful about who you watch. But let me know too. I know money is a sensitive subject. Know this is a safe and confidential group. Write your questions below or DM me for specifics around your situation and your experience when dealing with this. So hopefully that number 1 just kind of raises your awareness of where you're at in that mind-body-money connection. And number 2 gives you a new tool in how to deal with it. Get out of those negative loops and put yourself in a more empowering space. So, okay, would love to know your experience. Please let me know how it went, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.